everyone, welcome back to Story Time. Miss Regine here. Today we're going to be reading another chapter from The Big Bad Wolf Investigates Fairy Tales. And today we will be reading about Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm not sure if you've heard of this story before, but here we go. Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and his mom are very poor, and they've run out of food. Jack's mom tells him to take their cow to the market and sell it to get some money. A total stranger comes up to Jack and says that he's got magic beans. For some reason, Jack swapped his family's only cow for these beans instead of for some money that his mom could really use for food. When Jack gets home, his mom freaks out and gets so mad that she throws the beans away. What can we do with these beans? It's not even enough to feed all of us. But incredibly, the beans are actually magic. They grow into an enormous, ginormous beanstalk that reaches to the sky. Jack decides to climb the beanstalk. At the top, he finds a giant's castle in the clouds. He sneaks in and steals a bag of gold coins while the giant is asleep. Then he goes back and steals the giant hen that lays golden eggs. You would think that would be enough stealing for one day, but no. Back he goes and steals the giant's harp. Bad luck, Jack. It's a noisy, talking harp that wakes the giant up. Jack runs back down to the beanstalk, climbs to the bottom, and chops it down with an axe, all before the giant can get him. Woo! The beanstalk falls down, and that's the end of the giant. Jack and his mom then become millionaires thanks to all the stuff they stole. Now, what is the moral of the story? 1, you can trust random strangers. 2, never listen to your mom. And 3, stealing is absolutely fine. That doesn't seem really right. It isn't. Okay, let's just get a few things straight. How tall was the beanstalk Jack climbed? And how high is the sky? Because remember, it said that the beanstalk reached all the way up to the sky. The place where the Earth's atmosphere, air, meets the outer space is called the Kármán line. It's 100 kilometers above the ground. If you need a visual, that's 303 Eiffel Towers all stacked on top of one another. Mount Everest, which is the highest mountain in the world, is just under 9 kilometers high. So it's like climbing Mount Everest 12 times. That's a very long climb. And Jack would have needed to take an oxygen tank with him. I don't know if you've read into climbing Mount Everest, but when you get to the top, it becomes really difficult to breathe because the closer you get to the Kármán line or the closer you get to the sky, the less oxygen you have. So for Jack to have been able to climb that high without an oxygen tank is already preposterous. Next, so did Jack really climb all that way? He must be a really speedy climber. The giant's castle that Jack reached was in the clouds, and clouds are lower than the Kármán line. Clouds can be at very different heights though. The white fluffy ones are called cumulus clouds, and they can be anything from 1 to 6 Eiffel Towers above ground. Also, from what I know about clouds, they're not really solid, they're not solid structures. So for example, if I were to touch my phone, this is a solid structure, meaning nothing can pass through it. I can't really put my fingers through it. Whereas clouds, they're gas. Am I correct? They're gas and you can't really hold on to that. So to imagine something sitting on top of a cloud is a little bit difficult for me. Next. Could a plant really grow as tall or as high as the clouds? Let's think about it. The tallest tree in the world is called a redwood named Hyperion, which is over 115 meters tall. That's not even half the height of the lowest cumulus clouds. Scientists think that this is about as tall as a tree can possibly grow. So, no, it's very unlikely that a beanstalk could grow as tall as this story claims it does. Next, how fast could Jack chop the beanstalk down? The fastest lumberjacks are people who cut trees for a living, that is their job, or called tree cutters. Lumberjacks can cut a normal of 30 centimeter log in 20 seconds. But Jack's beanstalk was so massive that it would have been about 70 times thicker than that. With this logic, it would take the fastest lumberjacks in the world over 23 minutes to chop down the beanstalk. That means the giant must have been moving very slowly. To think about it, I cannot, even as myself, I think I'm pretty strong. I would not be as strong as a lumberjack. And if it took me 30 minutes to cut down a beanstalk that thick, I would still be very tired. Okay, so first, Jack would have had to climb the beanstalk that is the size of how many Eiffel Towers? 303 Eiffel Towers tall really quickly, all in the same day, to steal the harp, the hen, and a bag of gold coins, and then bring it down. Climb up the tower, 303 Eiffel Towers, climb up, and then come back down with a bag of gold coins, and then climb up again to steal the hen, and then climb back down, and then climb up again to steal the heart and climb back down. That is one tired boy. And then after having done that, the giant must have been a lot taller. I would assume at least the height of one Eiffel Tower. The giant would be moving at a much faster speed. If this were realistic, the giant would be climbing down at a much faster speed than I or Jack would be hacking that beanstalk. So the big bad wolf in the story really breaks down. Is it possible that Jack would have gone up 3 times, gone up and gone down 303 Eiffel Towers, and been able to carry all of these things that he stole? Something interesting to think about. I hope you enjoyed this story. I'll see you next time.